Hi, my name is Melissa Rhiannon, and I'm doing this video on understanding anxiety and how to cope. Okay, so the last few days I have not been able to do a video because I was experiencing high levels of anxiety. And I had to figure out how to get them under control and take care of myself before I did a video. So what is anxiety and how do we deal with it? We're all experiencing anxiety right now. And it's okay to acknowledge that, and that's what we need to do, is acknowledge that we're all experiencing anxiety, and it is normal in a situation like this to experience anxiety. So one of the first things that is a sign of anxiety is restlessness. If you cannot sit down and read a book like you normally do, or you can't sit during a whole movie, or you aren't able to stay in one place for very long, or you have to pace. These are all signs of restlessness, and those are signs of anxiety. If you can't focus or concentrate, if someone asks you a question and you just have no idea what they just asked you, you ask them to ask you again and you still don't know what they said, that is a symptom of anxiety. Excessive worry. I know we're all worrying constantly right now because we don't know what to do. Some things we know what to do. Some things we think, well, I did that, but is it good enough? Is it going to help? It's okay. It's normal in this situation to have these worries. Tight muscles. Tight muscles are another thing that we experience during anxiety crisis situations. We end up with tightness in our neck, tightness in the back of our head, sometimes tension headaches, tightness in your shoulders, tightness down your spine and in your lower back, and sometimes even down your legs. Muscle tightness is very much a symptom of anxiety, and that is one of the signs. Fatigue, inability to sleep. I know many people have messaged me and said, this is the one thing that they're having the biggest concern with, because they wake up in the middle of the night and they can't stop their brain from racing. So this is very typical in a situation like this, and we'll talk about things that we can do to help that. Irritability. Well, that is completely part of the anxiety that you're feeling. Feeling irritable when somebody asks you a question and then you can't focus and answer, or someone, the light turns green and they're not stepping on the gas, the car in front of you isn't going fast enough, the dog wants to be let out too many times. Like, these are all things that can irritate us that normally we would have patience with, but it's pretty normal to have irritability during a time when you're having high anxiety. So, how do we cope? One of the first things that I talked about in my first video is that breathing technique that I have learned that helps so much. It calms the brain, and it helps to temporarily relieve that panic feeling that you have in your mind and your heart. So you breathe in on 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, breathe out for 8 counts. Again, you breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, and breathe out for 8 counts. This is a very important breathing technique, and some people are like, well, just breathe and count to 10. No, this technique actually works. So, why are you feeling anxiety right now? Well, what's going on? Everyone around you is feeling anxiety. Everyone in the world right now is feeling anxiety. It is completely normal and okay for you to feel anxiety and to feel panic. This is normal. We are meant to feel this during a crisis like this. So what that means is that you're a normal person, and it's okay to feel panic right now. So that's one of the things on the list. Validate your feelings. Validate your family's feelings. Validate your children's feelings. Validate your own feelings. This is a very important technique in coping with anxiety. So, another thing that you can do is write down your thoughts and feelings. This way, your brain doesn't have to hold it all in all the time. Once you put it down, write it down on a piece of paper, your brain is able to kind of relax a little bit because it knows that it no longer has to hold that information. It can let it go because it's now written down, and it's a very effective technique. So one of the other things is to ask yourself, what do I have control over and what do I not have control over? So this is important when you're dealing with anxiety because a lot of times we don't put those two categories separately, and our anxiety, we have all of our anxiety thoughts in one basket, and once you empty that basket just a little bit, it's not as heavy, and it makes it so that your ability of what you can control feels less overwhelming. So you need to separate what you are in control of and what you cannot control. And that is very important in dealing with anxiety. Meditation and prayer is also a very big way to help with anxiety. During meditation, if you use that breathing technique that I showed you, that is a technique that is used around the world, and it's very effective. With prayer, you're usually speaking out loud, but you can also use the breathing technique before you start your prayer, and then also use the things that you have written down, your thoughts and feelings, and talk about them in your prayer. This is very helpful because this allows your body and your brain to relax and realize that there is a higher power and that you can release some of these things that you cannot control and only handle the things that you can control. Another one is to pay attention to the positive things. Sometimes that's really hard when we're distracted by our anxiety. But it's very important to, when you're really starting to feel panicked, after you breathe and think, what can I control, what can I not control? List 3 things that are positive in your life. I know that you can think of 3 things. It's not hard once you breathe and realize that you don't have to control everything. So, eating healthy is very, very important during this time. It helps your body and your brain to function properly, and it makes it so that you are not having blood sugar highs and lows or heart palpitations or some of the other things that happen when we're having anxiety attacks. It's not that you won't have those, it's that eating healthy will make it so that it's not contributing more to the problem. The things that you should try to focus on right now is to eat fish, with a lot of fatty fish, nuts, vegetables, and beans. Try to cut down on the high glycemic foods like simple carbs and sugars, because that creates problems with your blood sugar going up and down, and it also can give you heart palpitations. Also, try to cut down on or cut out, if you can, sugar, caffeine, and cigarettes. These are all things that make your heart race. Now, I know that some of those things are hard to cut out completely. Everyone tries to do that as much as they can, but even if you just cut down, it will make such a huge difference, and you'll be glad that you did. You can also replace caffeine with tea or green tea because it has less caffeine. Coffee or caffeinated beverages. You can try to drink some type of tea or green tea specifically because that helps with less caffeine. And then just, whole grains, vegetables, meat, and nuts and beans. Those are things that don't have as much easily accessible sugar for your body. Cutting back on cigarettes sounds like a really scary thing to do, but trust me, It is doable. I stopped smoking 3 years ago, and I have not regretted it. And I did it by cutting back first before quitting completely. So I'm going to go ahead and start the video number 2, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.